If you believe that you are capable, you are worthy, and you are the right fit for the role, this will impact how you show up for the job interview. That belief shapes how you present yourself. You will exude the confidence, the enthusiasm, the competence, the qualities that hiring managers are naturally drawn to. Hi, I'm Renata Bernardi, and this is the Job Hunting Podcast, where I interview experts and professionals and discuss issues that are important for job hunters and those who are working to advance their careers. So make sure that you subscribe and follow, and let's dive right in. Hello, and welcome back to the Job Hunting Podcast, or if you're new here, welcome to the Job Hunting Podcast. What a way to start 2025. I am your host, Renata Bernardi, and this is where I help ambitious professionals around the world to nail their next job, create a career that they love, and build the confidence they need to pursue their goals. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see I'm back home. This is my office. If you're not watching it on YouTube, go have a look. I am delighted to be back in Melbourne, Australia. I've been working and traveling overseas for the past 3 months. And frankly, I am incredibly jet lagged still, but really keen to record this new episode for you. I'm recording it a week before you get to listen to it. So I want the episodes that I do solo to be very just in time, because there's so much happening all the time and so many changes. And I want to always be addressing what you and I are currently seeing in the workforce, in the workplace, and in the job market. So if you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you found the podcast. I also have a newsletter, and you can sign up. There's a link in the episode show notes, and I will keep you informed. And there's extra subscribers only content that I provide weekly to my subscribers. So I would recommend doing that if you're really keen to get your career on track. And to all my regular listeners, 2025, it's going to be a better year. I promise you, 2024 was really tough. So today's episode is a special one. It's my first solo recording of the year. You probably have seen the 2 episodes that I've recorded with my guests already this year, and I hope you enjoy them. If you haven't listened to 273 and 274, please go and check them out, because it's always good to listen from the horse's mouth, the recruiters. One is in Australia, one is in the US. That's where, my biggest listenership is. So I wanted to make sure that I was giving you excellent advice from recruiters in your area, your region. So I'm excited also to be doing solo episodes, and I'm using that word a lot, but to start this year, 2025, by addressing a critical question for those of you who did not get a job in 2024. Why didn't you get a job? Now, there are lots of reasons and explanations, and it was a really tough year. Just listen to the episode from the end of last year with Jeff Slade, and you will see that 2024 was a tough year. It's a hard question to confront, but my philosophy is to address the things that we can control, that you can control. And we're going to reflect on your job search challenges and things that are essential if you want to move forward and achieve success in 2025, or whenever you start listening to this episode. So this episode is not really thinking about 2024 and all of the external issues that happened that year that made it such a tough job market, but it's like a universal episode that you can listen at any time if you've been struggling to find work, working by yourself and not knowing what you're doing that's not working and not putting you in the top of the job market. So I hope that this episode will help you identify what might have held you back up until now, and then break those barriers and set yourself for success in the job market in the months ahead. I will be drawing inspiration from 3 sources today. The first one is Marisa Peer and her teachings on mindset and self-belief. And that can really profoundly, in my view, influence your career outcomes. Anecdotally, I don't do research, of course, I'm a professional career coach, but I can see that the difference that it makes, the mindset of clients and the outcomes. I can see that with my clients, and I think Marisa is a good source to go to. So I will put links below for you to go and check her out. There is also a really good article from the middle of last year by a career expert, Catherine Fisher, and she tackled mistakes that may have cost candidates job opportunities. I really enjoyed reading that article. Again, I'll put a link below in the show notes. So please look for the show notes wherever you are. There's always links to everything that I talk about here on the episodes. If you're new here and you don't know where it is, iTunes, Spotify, they will have show notes there, or you can go to my website, thejobhuntingpodcast.com, and search for episode 275. There will be a blog there and the links mentioned. And of course, I also draw inspiration from my own experience as a career coach, working with lots of professionals who have overcome their hurdles in landing their jobs. And, I'm very lucky to have supported them and helped them through it all. So let's go. Let's do this. Before we dive in, just a quick note to say Happy New Year to you, because in my solo episodes, I don't think I got a chance to do that. They were recorded before the end of the year anyway. And again, thank you for listening. I am back in Australia after being away for 3 months. A lot of you who follow me on Instagram send me notes and ask me how I do it. Am I on holiday? What's going on? I haven't been on holiday. It's really interesting. What I do is I work 1 week on, 1 week off. And the week off is also not entirely off because I am always on call for my private clients. So if you're working as a private client with a coach like me who is specialized in finding you a job, I can't just switch off. I need to be on call for you if you need my help and support, if you have a job interview, and some of that happened at the end of the year. End of the year is the busiest time for career coaches like myself because people unfortunately get notification that their jobs will be made redundant. They get laid off at that time. It's very, unfortunately, again, very common for that to happen. So my busiest month, according to my calendar scheduling system, Calendly, was October, and half of that month I was away already. So it goes to show that I really need to be a digital nomad and work from wherever I am. My second busiest month of the year was December. The first 3 weeks of December, again, Calendly shows me that was really, really busy with a lot of bookings and a lot of people trying to connect with me. I also got lots of new clients when I was overseas from regions that I hadn't really worked with before. And I think it's really interesting when I'm hopping around the world and I don't have a VPN, how my content then gets delivered to different markets. So I have clients now in even more time zones, which being in Australia doesn't really help, but it will be fun to see how we manage that. And again, I love what I do, so I don't really mind. The final thing I wanted to say before tackling the topic of this episode is the LA fires. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm based in Melbourne, Australia, but my biggest listenership is in the US, most specifically the two coasts, the East Coast and the West Coast. And most of my clients, the people that book consultations with me, that buy services and courses from me, that work with me privately and attend my group coachings, they are pipelined from you. They're listeners of the podcast who listen to it enough to say, okay, I trust this woman, I'm going to work with her. So I do have quite a lot of clients in that region, and it breaks my heart. But even more than that, this is a really interesting thing because I'm a Brazilian and now I live here, and I lived in the US, but I lived near San Francisco. I lived in the Silicon Valley when I was younger. My dad worked there, but I love love, love Los Angeles. I don't know why. It makes no sense. I've never lived there, but I go back time and time again. I went there for my honeymoon. I made my husband go there. Then I became a travel agent. If you read my story on my website, you will know that I was a travel agent for 7 years. I used to make a lot of people go to Los Angeles as the start of a honeymoon. That was my honeymoon, the Highway 1 from San Diego to San Francisco. So many people did that because of me. Then I took my kids to do that with me, and I finally convinced Andrea that Los Angeles was cool. And I love that region. The houses in the Palisades where the fire broke, they were so beautiful. The architecture, and I can only imagine the artworks inside those houses, but really like mid-century and early 20s and 30s, and Spanish architecture and sort of that Mexican style as well. Those beautiful palm trees. I just was always in love with that region. And I love watching TV shows and movies that showed the houses in that location. I'm talking about it too much because it has really rocked me. It really, really affected me. And I feel sorry for you if you're listening and you've been impacted. Reach out to me, send me a DM. I'm on every social platform. And I'm sure you're following me on LinkedIn at least. At least follow me on LinkedIn, right? Send me a DM. Let me know how you're doing and how I can help. I've reached out to all my clients. Oh, it's so sad. I really feel really sad. And I was planning to go back to LA in 2026 in April, May with a friend. I still plan to do that, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. That area is so touristic as well, and so many people work in hospitality and tourism, and that will be also affecting way above and beyond the people that lost their houses. It's the whole economy and infrastructure of the place. But anyway, enough about that. It's just something I needed to get out of the system and make sure that I addressed it, because I have so many clients from that area. I just know I'm assuming I have lots of listeners as well. So if you're listening, I am thinking of you. All right. My group coaching and online course, Job Hunting Made Simple, is coming back in a few weeks. So if you're interested in participating, stay tuned, because I will provide more details at the end of this episode. But let's start by talking about the 5 reasons why you maybe did not get a job up until now. If you're searching, if you're investing in this, and what's going on? The first thing that I'm going to talk to you about might be a bit of a controversial one for a lot of people. Let's start with mindset, which is often the invisible force driving or blocking your career success. Now, please do not tune out now. Please do not go away because you are a skeptic and you don't believe in mindset. We need to dive deeper into this topic. And I want to acknowledge that if you are a corporate professional listening to this, you might be tempted to tune out when I mention mindset, right? I can see my clients' eyes rolling when I'm with them on coaching sessions and talking about mindset, and I can see theirs too. It's not fluffy. It is a real impact in your results landing a new job. But I get it. Corporate environments often train us to focus on measurable skills, data, and results. And for a moment, I want you to hear me out, because there is strong evidence that mindset does, in fact, have a measurable impact on your career outcomes. Okay, so what does research say about mindset? Dr. Carol Dweck, a psychologist at Stanford University, has conducted extensive research on the concept of a growth mindset, the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and learning. In her studies, people with a growth mindset consistently outperform those with a fixed mindset, those that believe that abilities are static, that whatever they know already in their career is enough, that they don't need to keep growing and keep upskilling and reskilling. So this concept applies directly to your job search. That flexibility in your mindset needs to be applied. For example, someone with a fixed mindset might avoid applying for roles they feel underqualified for or overqualified for, assuming they can't develop the skills that are necessary to do the role. So they stick to a much narrower uh, group of job applications. Also, if you compare that with a growth oriented professional, they might take a course to bridge the skills gap, to crystallize learnings from the work experience that they've had. That is such an important thing to do if you are thinking about transitioning out of your role. Let's say you've been project managing for years, but you have not done a certification yet. You need to do that crystallization and have the certification, because it will most likely be not required in your next job, but looked upon as, really beneficial, especially if you are competing with other candidates that have that. So you might position yourself as a fast learner, as somebody who is more confident at applying for jobs. Then who do you think gets the job? It's the person with the growth mindset. The other thing that we've seen in research is the placebo effect. So consider this: in medical studies, patients who receive placebo treatments often show improvements simply because they believe that they are receiving effective medication. And this phenomenon is known as the placebo effect, and it demonstrates that the belief that you have in your head can influence real world outcomes, even in physical health. Now, how does this apply to job searching? If you believe that you are capable, you are worthy, and you are the right fit for the role, this will impact how you show up for the job interview. That belief shapes how you present yourself. You will exude the confidence, the enthusiasm, the competence, the qualities that hiring managers are naturally drawn to. On the flip side, if you believe you're not good enough, that self doubt, that little seed, even if it's subtle, can come across in your tone, in your body language, in the way that you answer questions in interviews. And if you think about how they will be interviewing people that have the growth mindset and the static mindset, they can't even put into words how exactly what exactly the difference is, but they will be able to tell, and they will choose the person that exudes that confidence. The other piece of research I wanted to bring to your attention is this study from the University of Rochester that found that individuals with a positive mindset about stress performed better under pressure compared to those who viewed stress as purely harmful. Okay? Job hunting is inherently stressful. There is rejection, there is uncertainty, there is high stakes involved. However, if you view this process as an opportunity, as the sort of stress that is good for you, you are able to grow and build resilience rather than see it as a series of obstacles. You are more likely to stay motivated to improve with each interview and ultimately land the right role for you. A meta analysis that was published by the Journal of Career Assessment also showed that optimism, the tendency to expect positive outcomes, is highly correlated with higher job satisfaction, better career advancement, and even higher salaries. Why? Because optimistic individuals are more persistent in their job search. They know it's going to eventually happen, so they don't give up. They're more likely to take risks because they understand that failure is just part of the process. And they are better at building professional relationships because they are not afraid of talking to people about the things that they're going through. All key factors in landing and succeeding in a new role, right? So this mindset concept does matter to you. And I want you to take away from today that mindset isn't just a nice to have. It's a career success factor that has been validated by science. And we as corporate professionals are way behind other professionals when it comes to understanding mindset. Athletes, they hire coaches just to work on their mindset. You can see in documentaries when players are playing against each other, it's usually the one that walks in with a stronger mindset that wins the game when everything else is equal. They're both highly qualified, highly ranked. You know, as a team or as individual players, let's say tennis. I love to use tennis as an analogy. I've just been to the Australian tennis yet again. And, you can see that the players are so good. And if you wake up and you're not feeling good, something's happening in your life, there's stress that has nothing to do with the competition, sometimes has to do with something personal that's happening, it affects you and it will affect how you play the game. So corporate professionals usually underestimate the power of mindset. You don't have to believe in affirmations or visualization exercises right away. But you do need to understand that the way you think will impact the way you act, and the way you act impacts the results that you get. One thing that worries me as well is that job seekers like to complain. And I want them to complain to me because I need to understand what's happening in their minds. And, when they're complaining in a coaching session with me or a consultation, if they book a consultation to talk to me, yes, of course, I need to know. Please tell me. But it worries me about the complaining as a social exercise because it will affect your mindset and it has the potential to spiral you down. So if you're feeling skeptical, think of mindset as your operating system, just like a computer's operating system and how it affects the hardware and the software performing in your computer. Your mindset affects how effectively you use your skills, your knowledge, and your experience. So without the right mindset, even the best qualified corporate professionals can fall flat on a high stakes job interview. You probably know what I mean now. You probably have experienced it yourself. Everybody has experienced this, right? So nobody is like perfect when it comes to mindset. It's something we need to work on. And again, before you dismiss this idea, ask yourself this: what's the harm in taking a closer look? The worst that can happen, you will learn a new perspective, and at best, it could really transform how you approach your job search and your career. And I insist in talking about this because the optimist listening will sort of go, oh, I don't know why Renat is going on about this. I get it. But not everyone is an optimist. There will be realists and pessimists and skepticals and all of that. And they were probably 70% of the audience. So optimists, thanks for staying and listening for me. Listening to me justify why mindset is so important. So now let's talk about it, right? So taking this mindset for granted is probably the biggest mistake you've done so far. I say this because I assume that if you found this episode, if you found this podcast, you're a highly qualified professional. You invested in your career, in your education, you've had good jobs so far, and you just can't get it why you're not getting ahead with your job search, right? So we need to move on now that you understand how mindset is important to some more practical tips for you for recognizing and shifting that mindset with the help of, in my case here, just for the sake of the research I had to do and the fact that I know a little bit about Maria Zapier's work. She's a strong advocate for this idea that your thoughts shape your reality, right? These are her words. If you're not familiar with her, she's a renowned therapist. She's not a career coach. She doesn't usually talk about job searching. I'm applying her expertise into job searching, okay? So she's a therapist and she's a speaker, and she's known for her rapid transformation therapy, RTT, and her belief in the power of self affirmations and mindset shifts to achieve success. That's the work that she does. A key tenet of her philosophy is the importance of addressing limiting beliefs. And this is why Marisa Peer is important in the sort of coaching that I do, is because I usually have clients that have those limiting beliefs about because they're too old, or because they don't have X or Y experience, or because their career has been kind of patchy and they have all those limiting beliefs. So, understanding how Marisa Peer's sort of how her understanding and her philosophy and applying those to my client work is really important to me. The other thing important in Marisa Peer's work is understanding the subconscious mind, and replacing those negative thoughts and patterns that are not sometimes things that you do consciously. Sometimes it's completely unconscious. And and you have to replace them with empowering ones. And it's not something that will just happen. These are exercises that you need to do. She emphasizes that your thoughts shape your reality. And by identifying those negative beliefs, like I'm not good enough, I'm going to fail, you can transform your life. You need to address those, sort of self reflect and have that self awareness and apply some of her teachings. She teaches that many of us are held back by those limiting beliefs and often formed in childhood or early in our careers. And this is the reason why, and I've discussed this many times in the past on this podcast, when the year starts, 80% of all professionals in the corporate world want to change jobs, but then by the end of the year, only 5 to 9 to 10% of those professionals actually change jobs. This happens time and time again. You may have seen, articles written about this in the past. 70% of the professionals in the US say that they want to change jobs. Do all of them change jobs? No. Why? Limiting beliefs. Okay. So they try, they fail, they give up, they think they're not good enough or they can't do it. There's no good jobs out there. No one values what I bring to the table. Those are limiting beliefs that stop you from having the grit and the perseverance to move forward. And these beliefs, they operate in the background of our minds, and they are influencing how you behave when you are applying for jobs. And then, of course, by proxy, they influence the outcomes of those job applications. So, for example, if you are in a job interview and you're thinking, I will never get this job is too good for me, I'm underqualified, you may unconsciously project that doubt and insecurity in your tone of voice, in the way that you speak, in the way that you present yourself. So, how do you overcome this? First of all, recognize your limiting beliefs. If that's happening to you, maybe if it's not happening to you, think about this episode like a traffic light system. Right now, Renata, this is not me. Okay, skip and wait until I talk about the next thing. But if you feel that this is happening to you, write down any negative thoughts you have about your job search and career, because awareness is the first step to change. Then reframe them. Replace those limiting beliefs with empowering ones. So instead of saying or writing, I will never get this job, say, I'm the right fit for this role. Write it down. And I'm excited to show them why. Visualize success. It, I start, my day, and I finish my day with visualization. I just love lying down in my bed and just visualizing my day, my months ahead, my career ahead. I do that every day. I love it. Marisa Peer emphasizes the power of visualization. I want you to picture yourself walking into an interview with confidence, answering questions with ease, and receiving that job offer. When you shift your mindset, you show up differently. Employers will sense your confidence and enthusiasm, which brings me to the next point. How you present yourself in interviews matter. It matter, and that's why it's so important to prep for them, okay? And so keep this in mind, use these little tips, write things down, and let me know how it goes. Let me know. Find me, DM me, and tell me if it makes a difference. Okay, now I want to talk about some practical mistakes highlighted by Catherine Fisher's article that I mentioned before, because I think they are so aligned with Marisa Peer's thinking. I'm not sure if Catherine read Marisa Peer's work before she wrote the article or not, but you will see that what she has observed as an expert in career resonates with what I've just explained about mindset. So that let's call that mistake number two. Mistake number one was the mindset. And mistake number two is lack of enthusiasm. So hiring managers rank enthusiasm as the number one trait they look for in candidates. So if you act disinterested, or if you play too cool for school, which a lot of people do, right, in interviews, I've done this as well, to be honest, it may send the wrong message to the recruiter. They're not interested, they're too cool, they're not the right culture for this organization. Culture is a really interesting thing. A lot of people tell me when they have consultations with me or start working with me as a private client or group coaching client that, culture is so important to them. But are you bringing the right culture in your interview? Right? So, how you show up and your interest and your enthusiasm, the energy that you bring in the room really has an effect on the outcome. So, how do you fix this? Show genuine interest by preparing thoughtful questions, preparing to, before you talk to anybody in the company and the role. This requires research and it requires you to have that growth mindset that we spoke about, and understanding that yes, everything that you've done so far is really important, but to apply for this next role and get this next gig, you need to do your due diligence about the organization, right? So expressing excitement about the opportunity is really important. For example, saying things like, I'm really excited about this opportunity to contribute to your team and help you achieve your goals. Something along those lines, right? The other mistake number three now, not demonstrating willingness to upskill, reskill, and invest in your professional development. See how that's aligned with the mindset as well that we've just spoken? But, many employers are looking for candidates who are committed to learning and to growth. Sometimes this is a question in job interviews. Tell me about your professional development goals. I have had clients that said nothing. And I'm like, no, you can't say that, right? So, especially in this fast changing world where so many skills are important for you to continue doing the job that you do today, you might have to do it differently. So, I understand ageism, but I also many times think that clients are just not keen to upskill and reskill and adopt and adapt to a world of work that is transforming, right? So skills like AI, like hybrid leadership, and working in a hybrid or digitalized environment as a manager, as a leader, or as a colleague, that sort of literacy, is becoming increasingly valuable. Sometimes people don't even know how to explain their leadership style. If you want to be a leader, you cannot fail that question. If you want to manage more than one person, you cannot fail that question in a job interview. So, how do you fix this in 2025 and beyond? Highlight any courses, books, and conferences that have expanded your skills. If you haven't done any courses or attended any conferences or read any books for the past 2-3 years, then this is an investment that you will need to make to continue to grow professionally, not just upskilling, but just reskilling and just keeping up with your trade, with your profession, your industry, and your sector. So, for example, share how you've taken a course on leadership, on project management, on AI tools, and apply those skills in your work. And I want you to frame your experience as a story of ongoing development. Employers love to see that you're not just capable, but also curious and adaptable. Okay, now let's talk about the next mistake. The next mistake is not selling yourself. Okay, so this is mistake number 4, not selling yourself. Now, this Everybody will. This is a universal problem. I know it can feel awkward to talk about your achievements, but as this person wrote in her article, there's a link below if you want to read it. You need to get comfortable selling yourself. The interviewer wants you to sell yourself. They want to hear about your biggest wins and how they make you the right fit for the job. Don't expect them to just assume things about you because you presented in your resume, because it's on your LinkedIn, because you've been referred for the role by somebody. You have to do the work as well of explaining to them how you are a great fit for the opportunity. So I want you to prepare your greatest hits, list of your career achievements and practice talking about them confidently. This is really important. Some people don't remember their career achievements because they haven't thought of them for ages. And our brain is really smart. We just file things away and it's in your long-term memory. And you can't just rock up to an interview and think that you are going to remember everything. You're not. You have to practice them and build those greatest hits. Don't be afraid to ask directly, is there anything about my experience that you feel might be a blocker? Give them the opportunity to help you address any concerns in real time whilst you're in there in the room with them. Otherwise, you're going to walk out and there will be no opportunity for you to address any issues. Okay, the final mistake. Mistake number 5, neglecting pre and post interview techniques. Go back and listen to Anita Zimmer's interview 273 because we talk about this. She's like, oh, I can't believe people don't do this, this, and that. And I'm like, and I explained to Anita, I said, Anita, it's so obvious to you, but this etiquette is not written anywhere. So even very skilled professionals don't know that they have to do this pre and post interview etiquette. Go listen to that episode. We talk about this. So small things that you do matter more than you think. This is why working with a coach, joining a group coaching program, for example, is so important because you're going to understand those little things and the order of doing the things, the etiquette of the job search and the recruitment and selection process. Things like showing up late, dressing inappropriately, not having a nice background when you're doing a Zoom interview, failing to follow up after an interview, not thanking people for their time. All of these things leave a lasting negative impression. Taking too long to reply back when a recruiter reaches out to you. All of these things are issues that you will need to fix. So, how do you fix this? Start by dressing appropriately and having that nice background. Go to YouTube, look at my background. It's not perfect, but it's a great background. Everybody needs to have a good background. I don't care. It's a hill I'm going to die on. I don't care what people say. Oh, Renata, you are privileged because you have your own office at home. I have clients that work from a tiny little corner of their bedroom and you cannot see their beds. And that's how it should be if you're applying for a job and going for a job interview. If you want the flexibility of working from home, you need to show that you can work from home and look professional and have a professional setting. If it's a tiny IKEA Billy case with some books and a lamp and a photo or a diploma or something, if that's all, that is enough. Okay, but this is super important. It's the same as people going for job interviews in the 1990s and not having a business suit. The background is the new business suit. You need to fix this for 2025 and beyond, because most likely you will be in the same town as everybody else and it will still be a Zoom interview or a Teams interview. Things like, you know, thank you notes, thank you emails. It's such a classy touch and thoughtful emails to just reflect on the conversations you've had with recruiters or with the employers. So important. Responding to recruiters and hiring managers promptly, like I said before. The delays, they usually signal a lack of interest and it can really unravel your situation. If you're a preferred candidate and you take 2-3 days to reply, you're not going to be the preferred candidate anymore. Now that you know the 5 mistakes that I have seen, that I have read about, that I wanted to introduce to you, I want you to reflect and take a different actions in 2025. Now that we've covered mindset and those practical mistakes, let's turn the spotlight to you. If you didn't get a new job in 2024 or the months, that have passed, ask yourself this question. Did you truly believe you were capable of landing the job you wanted? Were those the jobs that you really, really wanted? Did you approach each interview with preparation, research, enthusiasm, and confidence? Did you avoid the common mistakes that we've discussed in this episode today? If the answer is no to any of this, it's okay. Okay? Recognizing where you fell short is the first step towards improvement and the first step towards being successful in 2025 and beyond. Mindset work. So I want you to use affirmations and visualizations to shift your self-belief. And then upskilling, commit to learning one new skill or attending one professional development event in the next 2 to 3 months. Preparation. Treat your every interview as your chance to shine. This is why my one-on-one consultations, 1 hour consultations, are so popular. They're usually booked by people that are going for interviews and they want to do an interview prep with me. So research the company, rehearse your answers, practice selling yourself, consider investing in a coach like me that do interview preparations. Follow through. Don't skip the thank you note. Don't delay responses to hiring managers. These small touches can really, really set you apart and make you a reliable candidate that they will come back to time and time again. If you don't get the first job with that recruiter, they will see you as a candidate that they want to introduce to another client. All right. So now what's left for me to talk about with you today? It's the fact that the Job Hunting Made Simple program is coming back in February. So as we wrap up this episode, I really wanted to let you in on this exciting news. If you're following me for a long time, I do group coaching programs for corporate professionals that are experienced, that are usually over 35. Most of the people that join are in their 40s and 50s. And it's so exciting to work together. If you've been resonating with what I've shared today and in previous episodes, if you're following me and you're ready to transform your career and work together with me and other great professionals, then Job Hunting Made Simple might be a great option for you. I'm relaunching it this February. I'd love for you to be part of it. This program is the culmination of years of experience as a career coach, combined with insights from my own corporate career as a senior executive in my past. And it's designed specifically for ambitious corporate professionals like you, people who are ready to take control of the job search, overcome their challenges, fast track their way into career success. And if you're listening to this episode, you're probably my ideal candidate for the group coaching program, because you probably have been struggling with rejections, lack of confidence, feeling stuck. And this program will help you change all of that in a structured way. It's not just about improving your resume or your LinkedIn profile. That alone will not get you a job. You probably know this by now. But it's about equipping you with this proven system that I have used time and time again, that has been so successful to my clients that have worked with me in the past. And that will give you that mastery about every aspect of job hunting that you can take with you, not just for this stage of your career, but in the future as well. Once you learn it, you've learned it. So you will get clarity, then the tools, then the support you need to land the right job and build the career now and in the future. So I want you to consider just joining the wait list, right? So join the wait list. There's a link to it on my website on the Job Hunting Made Simple landing page, and you can see client testimonials there. You can understand more about how the program works. And February, March, April, which is how the program will run, is a great time of the year to look for work and to get yourself out there and doing this process together as a group. My aim is to finish the coaching just before Easter. Easter is at the end of April this year, which is perfect. Last year, if you remember, it was a schmozzle. It was just so complicated. We had Chinese New Year, then Easter, and Passover all together. It was so bad, you know. Now we have Easter at the end of April, which gives us a pretty good runway to do this group coaching program together. And I would love to help you. And, you know, being part of a group is just so much more fun. So head to my website, renatabernardi.com. Go to the Job Hunting Made Simple landing page. There's a link directly to it on the episode show notes, of course. So join the waitlist and you will learn more about the program. As soon as the enrollment opens, you will be the first to know, and you will start taking advantage of all the bonuses that I have. And I would love to work with you. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you found it valuable and inspiring as you reflect on what has happened so far in your job search and the results that you probably were hoping for. They are ahead of you. I really do believe that. I believe in you. I know that you have so much to give, and I hope that these 5 tips today have given you a lot to think about. And remember, it's about finding a job, but also about, you know, building a sustainable career for the long term, not just right now, taking those intentional steps towards those long-term goals. It will make everything so much more intentional and exciting for you. And with the right mindset and the strategies that we discuss, and hopefully my support, if you decide to work with me, we can make 2025 your year, the year of your career transformation. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast wherever you found it. Remember that we have this newsletter with additional subscribers only content as well. So look for the link for the newsletter and join us. I will see you next time. Stay tuned. Bye for now.